How's it going, guys? Yep, just on my way to work, and yes, I am wearing contacts. It's been probably a year, almost like practically a year since I last wore contacts. So I'm thankful that I found a new pair of them, like stuck in a drawer somewhere. So just wanted to come on and maybe talk about something. Talk about like the gospel from yesterday. For anyone that's gone to mass, or for anyone that's gone to like any like church that's not Catholic, that uses the electionary. More likely than not, you heard the gospel about striving to enter the narrow gate. And Jesus says that many try to enter the narrow gate, but only few are able to. And it's funny, like, I guess in one sense you could say that by saying that, he is saying that not many will be saved. But the whole point of it is really not to go really and to answer at least flat out like what the question is about the numbers game. He just says, like, look, instead of, I'm not going to tell you like how many will be saved, but I will just say strive to enter. And the deacon who gave the homily, the sermon yesterday, 2 days ago, because I went on Saturday evening to mass, said that, like, if there were like maybe 90% of people, 90% of people are saved, and Jesus were to say that, we would all be very too comfortable when it comes to our own salvation. And likewise, if it were like 20% of people that were to be saved, we would despair. And so Jesus just, like, bypasses that. He just says, strive to enter the narrow gate. Like, and it's just true, like, for each and every one of us. Like, we all know, like, that, like, what sins we struggle with. We all know, like, what certain things that we are dealing with that, like, can make our gate, or make the narrow gate either more narrower or more wider for us. And so, besides repentance, is this idea of, like, trying to, with the grace of God, to remove whatever things are constricting or, like, are making it harder for us to enter the narrow gate. And when I went to Bible study on last Wednesday, the priest who led it said that the narrow gate is Jesus himself. Because in the Alleluia verse, before the gospel, it comes from the Gospel of John, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through me. Jesus is the narrow gate. And for those of us who are addicts, who are familiar with the Big Book, there is a section in the Big Book that is called A Vision for You. And it says, like, in like the final paragraph of it, it says that you will surely be meeting some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. And when I first heard that, I don't know if it really hit me right away, but I later on, like, when I kept hearing that quote, what comes to mind is the road of happy destiny is the road of salvation. The road of recovery is, for many of us who are dealing with addiction, is the road to salvation. And I've said this before, that, like, there are, that for people, especially non-Christians who are striving in recovery, like, God will find a way, if they are sincere, to save them. And bring them to Christ. And so I find that for me, that becoming a member of the particular 12-step group that I am a part of, it has helped me to become a better Catholic. It has helped me to become a better Christian, and to have this relationship with Jesus, and to trust him more. And so the goal for all of us is to just basically be honest with ourselves, with others, and ultimately with God, that there are probably things in our lives that we need to get rid of, or to lessen if it's not necessarily a sin in and of themselves, that probably makes the gate narrower than it needs to be. And perhaps really, like, when it comes to the narrow gate, it's like the deacon who in his homily said, like, that the narrow gate probably becomes narrow because of us. We make it narrower than it needs to be. We make it harder for us to be saved. And so we have to surrender those things that constrict us. And the book of Isaiah says, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight his paths. Every mountain shall be brought low, every valley shall be filled. And like, this is a with that section in the book of Isaiah, what it's referring to is, it's comparing the coming of Jesus to the idea of having some ruler or king being brought to like one's vicinity, and that anything that is on like the path, on the road, has to be cleared away. And it's the same thing for us, that Jesus Christ, he already came, obviously, but when it comes to his entering our hearts, we have to clear away whatever is in the way. And it even says in A Vision for You, in the big book, we have to clear away the wreckage of the past. And in the beginning of like A Vision for You, it talks about that, like, obviously we cannot transmit something we haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us, that like, if we need to help other people, if we are called to help other people, we have to look at ourselves first before we do anything. And look, I've tried to help other people when I wasn't in recovery, or wasn't in good recovery, and it doesn't always work well. Like, St. Peter writes that we must give a reason for the hope that is within us. Am I really doing that when I am like giving into my addiction, or if I am like somehow just entertaining it in some way without actually giving into it? So that's the whole point of, like, when it comes to the situation of like clearing away the wreckage of the past and looking at oneself before helping others, that we really don't have anything to offer when we are away from God. When we are away from God. So that's pretty much all I want to share. I ask you guys to like, share, subscribe, pray for me. I will be praying for you too. And God bless. Bye.